Are there any common backward pawn weaknesses in the Petrov's defense? Have you ever wondered about the potential weaknesses in the Petrov defense, especially concerning backward pawns? Let's break this down together. In the Petrov defense, backward pawns are not usually a major concern. This opening is known for its solid and symmetrical pawn structure. Because of this, backward pawns tend to be minimized. So, what exactly is a backward pawn? A backward pawn is one that falls behind its neighboring pawns and cannot advance safely. This situation can create a target for your opponent. If a backward pawn appears, it requires protection from your pieces and can limit their movement. In the Petrov defense, the positions are often balanced and symmetrical. This means that structural weaknesses, like isolated or backward pawns, are less likely to occur. Black's pawn structure is generally compact and well defended. This solid setup helps avoid creating a backward pawn that could become a long-term target. However, if a backward pawn does show up in the Petrov defense, it can turn into a strategic weakness. This can happen due to inaccuracies or specific variations. When this occurs, the backward pawn will need constant defense from Black's pieces. This requirement can limit their activity and lead to a passive position. White can then focus on attacking the backward pawn or the weak square in front of it. This strategy can apply pressure and may even lead to creating a second weakness elsewhere on the board. This principle of two weaknesses is a common tactic in chess that can be used effectively against backward pawns. For players using the Petrov defense, it is important to stay aware of backward pawns. Avoid making moves that create isolated or unsupported pawns. Keeping a healthy pawn structure is essential to maintain the opening's solid reputation. If a backward pawn does appear, Black must be ready to defend it actively while looking for counterplay to avoid being restricted. In summary, backward pawn weaknesses are not common in the Petrov defense due to its solid and symmetrical nature. When they do occur, they can become a target for White and a challenge for Black, requiring careful piece coordination and strategy to maintain balance.